Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the Farzy Show. My name is Marc Farzetta. This show is presented by Destination Retirement, destinationretirement.com. And I'm coming to you live from the Steven Singer studio, as I do every day from 6 to 7 a.m. when our new episode drops daily, as it says in my Twitter profile. Welcome in to the program. I'd like to tell you guys a beautiful story. When I was a kid, I was born in Ambler, and we moved around a bit, and then we settled for a couple of years in the Baltimore area where my mother's from. And my grandfather, who lived to be 100, he was an usher for the Orioles, and his section was behind home plate. And I have some wonderful memories sitting in my grandfather's section. We'd buy the cheap seats, and then around the third inning, he would wave his rag. Which was like a rally towel, you know. And I thought my grandfather invented the rally towel forever. He'd wave it, and we'd see him do it, and then we'd come down. You know, this is before cell phones. This is like 1987, 1988. And we go down, and I was a little kid, like first grade, whatever. And we go down, and we sit behind home plate. And I remember Dwight Evans, who played his career with the Red Sox. I think he finished with the Orioles. And he hit a grand slam in the bottom of the ninth inning to extend a game. And I remember I was sitting right behind home plate, and I could still hear Dwight Evans grunt as he smashed that ball over the left field wall. And then Greg Olson, who was their closer at the time, came in. I think blew it later. But I just have so many great memories. And one of them also is when they moved over to Camden Yards. I remember buying a program. And I think it was the first program my parents ever bought me at a game. And Rex Barney was the PA announcer for the Orioles at the time. Former big league pitcher. He is the Dan Baker of Baltimore. And he's the guy that used to say, give that fan a contract when they would make a catch of a foul ball or whatever it was. And he always would have a signature at the end of every announcement. He'd always say, thank you. And it became his signature. And I remember having my program and looking up at the press box, and I saw Rex Barney sitting up there. And again, I'm at this time maybe a second grader. And my mom said, you should get Rex Barney's autograph. I'm like, yeah, that's a brilliant idea, Mom. And I go up there, and Rex Barney, all right, signs my program as a little kid. And he hands me the thing back, and he goes, I say, hey, Rex, thank you. And he goes, hey, little buddy, great job. You're going to take my job someday. And that's when it clicked. I need to be on a microphone. For my life's work, I need to be on a microphone. And I tell you these stories. I tell you these stories because I find them to be more enjoyable stories than talking about the Philadelphia Phillies right now. And I hope I have warmed your heart with stories of my childhood and my relationship with baseball. And I will say that I remember my first game, my first Phillies game. I was in 5th grade. We had moved back to the area. I had been going to Camden Yards for 3 years, and my dad took me to the vet. Oh, my God, what a culture shock that was. I think Charlie Hayes was playing third base for the Phillies. He dropped a foul ball right in front of us. And I remember looking around and be like, Dad, do I smell – are people peeing? It was like my dad, who was born and raised in this area, never left until adulthood. Then, Dad, I smell pee. It's the vet. Just watch the game. Like, Camden Yards was nicer. Not all ballparks are like. Just watch the game. Get you a hot dog and a soda. And your nachos, because you have to have nachos. God forbid this kid doesn't have nachos for 20 seconds. That was my culture shock. That was my introduction to Philadelphia sports, was going to the vet for the first time, watching Charlie Hayes drop a foul ball right in front of me. And then, like a year later, they went to the World Series. So with the 93 Phils, it was just amazing. But that's what I remember. Those are my baseball stories about being indoctrinated in the baseball world. And that's how I look back on those days, my early days of fandom. Oh, and for the record, I always had, even in Baltimore, even just outside Baltimore, I always had a Phillies pennant in my, like, that to me was like where we were from. Like, oh, we're going to go back to where we're from one day, and I'm going to watch that team and have this, like, wild idea of watching these Phillies players play at a beautiful stadium that was like Camden Yards, right? And yeah, that didn't happen until recently with Citizens Bank. Most recently, Citizens Bank Park was what, 04? And that's what I remember. But man, when I have days where I'm watching the Phillies blow saves, like Corey Knebel has blown 3 now this month. But if you ask him, he's fine. No, I wouldn't say I'm struggling. I blew a couple. I gave him a couple of solo home runs. Yeah. What about 3 blown saves in the month of May after not blowing a single save in the month of April? How about that? That's worrisome. That's a bit of a problem. If you remember, you go back to May 5th, and he blew a save against the Mets. Now, he's probably not calculating that in his brain because I think he had some inherited runners in that situation. They had already started to blow a big lead. They were up 7-3, I think, in the 9th inning, and the bullpen started leaking oil. And then all of a sudden, Corey Knebel comes in. He gives up I think it was a bunt single, as a matter of fact. And then that ended up tying the game, and that counted as a blown save, and he just got peppered from that point on. But, yes, that was still May. And then recently, over the last week and a half, he has given up 2 blown saves, and he has given up 2 solo home runs. But if you ask him, he's okay. After the game, and this might be way too specific a reference, but Corey Knebel yesterday after this game, after he blew the save, gave up the home run, he was giving me major Tommy Hunter vibes. And Tommy Hunter played a couple of years for the Phillies recently here, and he was like a standoffish guy. Like, we're not really struggling. I mean, we're just having problems. I mean, things happen. It was just like one of these guys, you know? And that's kind of the vibe that Corey Knebel was giving me yesterday. And I always like to say this, but just to get it out of the way, I always give credit to guys that stand at the locker room at least to answer the questions. I like ducking the media, so thanks for that. I would have rather him duck the media yesterday than kind of give me the denial of reality, which is he's had struggles. He's missed spots. Catches down here, pitches up here, home run. Like, that's not good. That's a negative. And when I'm watching him try to adjust the media yesterday, I'm like, dude, don't just stop. You're BSing us. All right? 3 blown saves in a month. I'd say that's a struggle. That's a struggle bus. Everyone can get off the struggle bus. But saying, and I saw Michael Barkan's tweet, and then I went back and I watched the post-game stuff. I said, I can't believe this guy is just in denial, Corey Knebel, about how he's been struggling over the last month of the season. And it reminded me of one of my favorite all-time dumb Philly sports quotes, which was from the great Robert Covington, who was struggling mightily from 3. And the reporters were asking him about how his struggles. Hey, you're having some problems. You're struggling a little bit here. How are you dealing with that? Robert Covington, exact quote. The man said this out loud in front of reporters with microphones and cameras. Said this: "I'm not struggling. My shot's just not falling." How there is even follow-up questions after that and not, I think we're good here. After that answer, I think we're good. Corey Knebel saying, I'm not really having struggles here. I just gave him 2 solo home runs. 3 blown saves. 3 blown saves, man. One of them against the Mets. 2 of them against the Mets. Excuse me. 2 of them against the Mets. And then this one against the this one against that Giants team. I'm going to go ahead and assume that those are struggles that we're looking at right now from Corey Knebel. Not to hot take you, but I'm going to go ahead and say that those are struggles that we're experiencing when we watch Corey Knebel. I don't know what the hell he's got to do, but Joe Girardi said after the game, we'll hear from Joe Girardi in a second, he's sticking with Knebel. That's his closer. And to be honest with you, as much as I'd just love to say give it to somebody else, I don't know who's going to take those reins. Because I feel like, again, the Phillies are in this rudderless ship when it comes to the guy that, not even rudderless ship, but they're in a rudderless ship that doesn't have an anchor at the back end of that bullpen. And boy, oh boy, do they need an anchor. And they ain't getting it. So I'm watching the Phillies yesterday, struggling through as most of you are. And Nick Castellanos hits that home run. And I'm thinking, all right, good. You're going to get this guy. You're going to get this guy's bat going. You're going to get a hot Nick Castellanos, which is something we've been waiting for a while. You know, they say guys that don't get the full spring training, and it's been a short spring training for everybody. They say, it takes them a minute or two to start to heat up, and that certainly looks like it was the case for Nick Castellanos, home runs in back-to-back games, which is great to see from him. But as that game was going on, Kyle Schwarber hit another home run for you, which was great. But as that game was going on, I just didn't feel like the Phillies ever had it in the bag, which is not really too surprising considering their history. But it just felt like the bullpen was going to let you down. Like sometimes there's just a feeling in the air that the bullpen was going to let you down again. And just as you're feeling like Nick Castellanos could be getting hot, I feel like Knebel could be getting ice cold. And I have no confidence in him coming in the later stages of a ball game right now to try to hold a lead, secure a lead, and, of course, record a save. And I'm watching this game play out. And, of course, as fate would have it, they end up blowing the save. They tie things up. They force extra innings. But what was really just insane to me was Joe Girardi's decision. With 2 outs, Nick Castellanos gets on first base. And in that moment, Joe Girardi decides in the bottom of the 9th inning with 2 outs, this is the time to take Nick Castellanos out of the game and put in Roman Quinn. I'm scratching my head thinking, well, why would he do that? It's a tie ball game now. Kyle Schwarber hit the home run to lead off the inning. You have 2 outs, like I said. Nick Castellanos gets the single. He pinch runs Roman Quinn. 2 outs on first base. So everybody, including the pitcher, knows that this is a situation where Roman Quinn's going to try to take second. There's a number of pickoff attempts. Roman Quinn not picked off, although I was waiting for it. And I was thinking, maybe this will work out. Maybe Joe Girardi, maybe in my idiot brain that's trying to cope with the situation that I'm in, trying to make sense of the situation that I'm in, instead of saving Roman Quinn to be on second base in extra innings and keeping Nick Castellanos' bat in the lineup, his hot bat in the lineup, I'm going to take him out of the game. No. There's got to be something more to it where this MLB veteran, both player and manager, multi-World Series champion, there's got to be something that he knows that my idiot brain that peaked in 8th grade athletics, there's got to be something that he knows that I don't. And wouldn't you know it, there wasn't. Putting Roman Quinn in the game at that point was idiotic. There's no justification for it. He gets thrown out trying to steal second base. If there's anything that can't happen in that situation other than being picked off from first base, which he wasn't, God bless him, it's getting caught stealing. 1-1 pitch to Rhys Hoskins, goes in there for a strike. And on that pitch, Roman Quinn tried to steal second base with 2 outs. He ended up taking the bat out of the hands of Rhys Hoskins. Now, look, Rhys Hoskins is not on fire by any means. That 213 or whatever the heck he's batting now, but it's not good. On base percentage sub 300 for a guy that was getting on base all the time. So I'm not that mad that he took the bat out of his hands, but he still took at least one more pitch away from Rhys Hoskins, who does have some power. And you never know when the pitcher's going to make a mistake, and that's going to be a pitch up in the zone or one that the Rhys Hoskins can golf out of the stadium, which would have been a walk-off victory, obviously, or one he can put in the gap to score Roman Quinn from first because of his amazing speed with 2 outs as well. And instead, you take that opportunity out of his hands. My contention is he shouldn't have been in the game at that point anyway. He's my first guy I'm putting on second base in extra innings. And the Phillies, for whatever reason, decided not to do that. I am blown away by how dumb of a move that was. You can talk about Joe Girardi's handling of the bullpen left and right. You can talk about it all the time. We absolutely could. Bottom line is, if guys go in and do their job, Joe Girardi looks brilliant. That hasn't happened. But if guys go in there and do their job, he looks great. Joe Girardi putting Roman Quinn on first base. Joe Girardi putting Roman Quinn on first base with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning of a tie ball game is idiotic for so many reasons. One, the risk reward isn't there, especially when you're taking Nick Castellanos' bat out of the lineup. Now, hey, Joe Girardi could have been a realist in this situation and be like, well, there's no way with my bullpen Nick Castellanos is going to get a chance to bat again. And the way these guys have been hitting the ball, no way he's getting the chance to hit again anyway. So, yeah, go ahead. Let's roll the dice right here. Let's put it all in, despite the idea that it's a runner on first base with 2 outs. And Rhys Hoskins at the plate. Why, Joe? Why? You wait an inning and you put your man on second with nobody out. Seems like the better idea there. And Nick Castellanos stays in the order. Huh? Again, what do I know? What do I know? So the Phillies now have dropped to 7 games under 500. We have a new question. I've mentioned this new app before, Versus Game, right? Our first question wrapped up. We'll talk more about it in our commercial portion of the show. But the Phillies, I think very much so, could move on from Joe Girardi in the very near future. So the question we have up there now is, do you think Joe Girardi will last another week as the Phillies manager? Because I would not be surprised at all if he did not. And I see no reason to keep this guy around. Here's the only justification. They have nobody else that can do it. That's the only, if they're Dusty Wathan, whoever you think, let's just say that that's who we wanted as a fan base, whoever it might be. But right now, what if the Phillies are looking at it like, oh no, we can't have Dusty Wathan? Yeah, what are they going to do? Kevin Long? They're going to bump him up from hitting coach to manager? I don't think that's happening either. So as this whole thing plays out, the Phillies are going to be saying, well, what the hell? We'll pay him the rest of the way, and that'll be that. There are a couple of names that are out there. And I saw this, I forget who it was that tweeted it out, but it was more than one person that I saw mention Raul Ibanez as a potential candidate to fill in for the rest of the season as a Phillies manager. I would doubt that. Basically because not with the organization now, and he would be coming in for a new contract. Like, I can't think of too many guys that have come in as interim coaches that had nothing to do with the organization. I mean, he played here, obviously, but guys that haven't had a role in the organization already that year at that time and then stepping into the managerial role. I can't think of too many people that would be hired as an interim. Now, you're just going to hire Raul Ibanez and then say, hey, here's a 3-year deal, here's a 4-year deal? No, I would doubt that. But I know it's a name that's out there. Oh, and I'm intrigued, baby. I'm intrigued by Raul Ibanez as your next manager for the Phillies. But as for now, here is your current manager of the Phillies, Raul Ibanez. Wishful thinking. A Freudian slip. By the way, Matt Kerwin of PHL Sports Nation will be joining the show to talk some Phillies in a second. But here you go. Joe Girardi, despite the fact the Phillies have now lost 4 in a row and 6 of 7, talks about staying the course right now with this squad.
You keep doing your work, right? You keep preparing the guys. You keep encouraging the guys. I mean, that's how you do it. Again, this is a marathon. And I'm not saying that it's early, but this is a marathon. And just as easy as you can have a tough 2.5 weeks, you can have a really good 2.5 weeks. But, we have to clean some things up. We have to do a little bit better in all facets of the game. But the ability is in that room.
All right, you know what? I want to go play for Joe Girardi. You know why? Because I'm safe. Joe Girardi reminded me of a motivational speaker yesterday. He really did. He reminded, hey, it's okay. Like at first, my first thought was Chris Farley, Matt Foley, right? That motivational speaker. And then I noticed, and then I was like, no, he's more like Stuart Smalley. To pull out these old Saturday Night Live references. It was like, you know what? You're good enough. You're smart enough. And doggone it, people like you. That's what I was thinking when I was listening to Joe Girardi yesterday. And guess what? There's more on staying the course. Here's Joe Girardi.
Everybody in that room, everyone in this room, right, has went through hard times in their life. And you get to the other side, right? Or you wouldn't be in that room, right? And sometimes what you're going through seems like the worst thing that you've ever been through. But if you look back, you can probably point to a spot in your life where you've got through it. And they just got to continue to do their work, continue to grind this out. It's going to turn. It's going to. And I believe in them. I believe in Knebel. I believe in everybody in that room. There's a lot of fight in that room every day. We've been through a grueling 2.5 weeks, and we've been through some really tough losses. They'll respond.
There's nothing. I love that hey, I was thinking the same thing. There's a run in this team. They're going to be better than what they are. But I did say it would come after Joe Girardi was removed as the manager of the Fighting Phils. Because I do believe they're better than what we have seen. And I hate this thing that keeps on coming out about the Phillies. Oh, their schedule gets so much easier after this. Oh, we've been through a grueling 2.5 weeks. Okay. Oh, but the Phillies schedule gets so much easier later on. Really? This Phillies team that has already lost 3 or 4 to the Marlins this season? Really? That's the team that's going to go out there and look forward to facing weaker opponents? No, I don't think so. Oh, the schedule gets easier. Yeah, for who? Other teams or the Phillies? Because the Phillies aren't exactly inspiring confidence. Here's what could happen. Phillies bats could go out there and score 6 runs. Their bullpen's going to come in later in a game, or maybe even their starting pitching, and they're going to allow 7 runs. Like, that's what we're facing right now. No matter how good the Phillies bats might be at one point, I still feel like the Phillies, who are also one of the worst defensive teams in all of baseball, not the worst still in terms of errors, this Phillies team just doesn't have what it takes right now to prove to anybody that they can even be a wild card contender. And Joe Girardi, I believe in everybody in this team. Good, you're the manager. Like, I'm not expecting to be like, well, pack it in, boys. We're toast after this. Phillies do have to go on some kind of crazy tear right now to even get to, I think it was 86 games, like 86 wins, that is, on the season, which is just bonkers to think about. But Joe Girardi saying, as he said in the first cut, this is a marathon. The first thought that went through my mind when I heard Joe Girardi say last night, it's a marathon, I was thinking, I don't think for you, Joe. I think for the rest of this team, it's a marathon. Because I always say it's not like the Phillies are going to fire this entire team and then keep you as a manager and bring in new players. No, that's not the way that's going to work. It's a sprint for Joe Girardi right now. When he said it's a marathon, I was like, no, marathons take a lot of time. And Joe Girardi, I don't think you have a lot of time here. This is a sprint for you. You have to figure out in the very near future how to make this team start winning baseball games again. You have to find the right buttons to push. And I don't know if they're in your binder or not, but it doesn't appear so. And you want to tell me that this team is going to focus on the marathon? Okay, maybe the team can afford that, but I don't think Joe Girardi can. Because there's no way, even with a vote of confidence from Dave Dombrowski, there's no way the Phillies are going over the luxury tax for the first time in the history of ever and being like, Joe, take your time. What about my contract? What about my option for next year? Take your time, Joe. There's no way Mr. I want my bleeping trophy back John Middleton is up there twiddling his thumbs going, oh, you know what? This is okay. There's no way he's like Joe Girardi on the Titanic going, hey, have you guys heard this band? No. Stay on the ship. No. That's a leak. There's nothing to worry about. But have you heard this band? They're bumping, man. This song really slaps. Should we get in the lifeboats? Would you stop in the lifeboats and try to listen to the shh, women and children for shh? I'm listening to the band. You know, get the kids out of here. Put the kids on the boat. They're a little too rowdy. I want to listen to this band. This band is glug, 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 glug. That was my second rendition of Joe Girardi on the Titanic. You're welcome. Phillies, 6:45 start time today. Lottie freaking down. We'll see what happens. So that's one of the things that got my goat yesterday, trying to watch the Phillies. You want more stories from my childhood? I got some beautiful stories involving baseball from my childhood. Remember meeting Randy Milligan, who was a first baseman for the Orioles for a time. Joe Orsulak. Let me just talk about late 80s, early 90s Orioles baseball, which was not good, by the way. I did get to meet Steve Findlay later in life at a bar in the Inner Harbor. And Marc Grace, not that he was ever an Oriole or whatever, but he bought us beers, and he was doing broadcasts for the Diamondbacks, and Steve Findlay came out to see his old buddy, Marc Grace, and I got to meet Steve Findlay and say, I remember when he played for the Orioles in 1988. And he was like, okay, pal. No, he was cool. He was the nicest guy in the world. Anyway, we still text. No, but if you're going through your struggles watching the Phillies right now, well, then happy summer. The unofficial start of summer, Memorial Day, and the Phillies blowing leads. Happy baseball season, everybody. Let me tell you about the great people at Destination Retirement, destinationretirement.com. You know what? You need someone to come in right, after your working career and save what you got going on, right, for the rest of your life? You want income during retirement? Call my closer, Mike Seibert, my man Pots and Pans. He's a retirement income certified professional at Destination Retirement LLC, a partner of 1847 Financial and advisor for Eagles, Sixers, and Phillies fans only. Maybe next year, the Flyers. When it comes to long-term savings, why are you giving up current enjoyment of your income? The answer is to have income streams in retirement. It only makes sense then to have income streams that work and can direct savings in ways that give you the highest income when you retire. Think of it like climbing a mountain. Is the objective just to get to the top of that mountain, or is the objective to get back down the mountain safely as well? Going up the mountain, your accumulation phase. Going back down the mountain is your distribution phase. I didn't know any of this until I talked to Mike Seibert. These are your two phases of your financial life, and each can be addressed separately and should be addressed separately. This month, let's talk about college planning. We all know college is expensive, right? Yeah. Have you ever thought about how it will affect your retirement? Well, let Mike show you an efficient way to help you pay for your kids' college education and still retire on your own terms. First step is to avoid starting your growth cycle over again by depleting accounts like 529s for big expenses like college. You don't want to lose your position on your growth cycle and have to start over again. You can't get that time back. Instead, set yourself up for the ability to use vehicles that you can take money out of without starting your growth cycle over. Find out how your annual retirement savings, this is going to blow your mind. Find out how your annual retirement savings can help your college savings and how your annual college savings can help your retirement savings. Mike will start your own portal and retirement analyzer, then use the software to navigate through the different phases of your financial life. For questions to set up a meeting with Mike, email him at gobirds@1847financial.com. That's gobirds@1847financial.com, or call his office at 484-275-6035. That's 484-275-6035. You can also set up a visit with Mike at destinationretirement.com. And also, as always, go Birds. Let me tell you about Steven Singer of Steven Singer Jewelers, the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right there on Jewelers Row. People, reasons to buy diamonds are only expanding. They're not contracting. For that, I present to you the push present. Your wife has a baby. Your significant other has a baby. Little thing called a push present, folks. The lady goes through that turmoil, that pain. Although I did have a really bad leg cramp when my wife was delivering our first. But anyway, we'll talk about that later. Yeah, true story. And I didn't mention that to my wife until like 2 months after the delivery. When she told me she was on so many drugs, she couldn't feel pain. I was like, oh, you weren't in pain, but I was holding your leg with a leg cramp. I had a leg cramp while holding your leg, your wonky leg because of the drugs. The leg was all over the place. By the way, that's another fun story in case I never told you guys that one. I'll tell you that one later in life. But anyway, back to the push present for Steven Singer Jewelers. You got to go to Steven Singer Jewelers for all these diamond needs. This is what you need. Dazzling diamond jewelry. Go to the other corner of 8th and Walnut, right there on Jewelers Row. I can't wait to look at the chat check for all the ladies about my leg cramp. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price, the perfect price every single day. And I hate Steven Singer Jewelers. IHateStevenSinger.com. Look at all the beautiful inventory at IHateStevenSinger.com. Then mosey on into the other corner of 8th and Walnut, where a real jewelry expert is standing by to walk you through everything and make you feel like family at Steven Singer Jewelers. The reason people say I hate Steven Singer, two reasons. He makes it so easy to buy a diamond. So whoever's buying a diamond is like, that person wants a diamond. I got to buy it because Steven Singer makes it so easy and affordable. Because other jewelers like to mark things up. This is why other jewelers say I hate Steven Singer. Other jewelers mark things way up just to mark it down a couple of bucks in front of you, make you feel like you negotiated, you won something. When from the moment you walk into Steven Singer, you're getting taken care of. You don't have to worry about the person next to you negotiated better than you. Oh, do they have a discount? Do they know the trick? Whatever it is. No, the trick is going to Steven Singer Jewelers at the other corner of 8th and Walnut, where you get the perfect price every single day. Steven Singer Jewelers, one place, one price, the perfect price every single day. So I had this leg cramp, right? Hold my wife's leg during delivery. We have fun. We have fun on this program. Ladies and gentlemen, let's break down the Phils a little bit more as they've been breaking us down emotionally. And what took place yesterday against San Francisco Giants. From our own PHLSportsStation.com partner of the show, Matt Kerwin joins us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. Ladies and gentlemen, joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line from PHL Sports Station, PHLSportsStation.com. our friend Matt Kerwin, Phillies writer extraordinaire. What's up, Matt?
How you doing?
I'm doing great. I'm just, I've never been better. In all honesty, all right. I try not to, as a guy who's approaching 40, I try not to get lost in the anger that is sports, but I can't help it, Matt. And I'm watching this game, and I'm watching Joe Girardi put ROMAN QUINN on first base with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th inning and taking Nick Castellanos' bat, red hot bat, out of the lineup. And then ROMAN QUINN tries to steal second, takes the bat out of Rhys Hoskins' hand for at least one more strike. For me, I am just beside Corey Knebel, the whole litany. I mean, I'm just as frustrated as the next guy. I don't know how much more of Joe Girardi's Phillies I can take, my friend.
I'm the same way.
Except for the pushing 40 part, right?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not pushing 40 yet. I'm not even pushing 30 yet, but that's okay.
Yeah, you're damn right it is. All right.
But, Joe Girardi's Phillies, I probably was on the train of supporting him till about maybe a week and a half ago, I think was the final straw for me. That's when I was, pulling out my hair. I'm wearing a hat so no one can see all the hair I lost or anything from that. But, it's just, it's unbelievable how rudimentary all his mistakes are. It's so basic. It's basic baseball that doesn't need to. It's not like he needs to reinvent the wheel. I really don't understand why he makes so many simple decisions become just terrible. Just
were you puzzled? Were you puzzled at the situation? Like, if ROMAN QUINN, say in extra innings, is on second base, which would have been the much better decision. If Nick Castellanos had doubled, then I would understand scoring position possibly. But 2 outs to put him at first base
wasn't worth it.
Yeah, a little bit.
He's like, I know last week, he made it home and he's super fast, and then everyone was going crazy about ROMAN QUINN's speed, but he really is the worst ball player. He really, no, I cannot stress that enough. He is so bad at baseball. He does not field well. He does not run the bases well. He doesn't know how to bunt for his life. The amount of times, I can't even tell you. It must be in double or even triple digits the amount of times this man has bunt popped out. Mm-hmm. It's ridiculous. He overruns the bag every time. I mean, he's fast, but he's going to get tagged out. I mean, it was, I was talking with some of the other guys at PHL Sports Nation during the game. We were like, as soon as they put him on first, it was like pick off 100%. They throw the ball to first 3 times, and then he runs to second, gets nailed. And it's like, we saw it coming. Like, we saw it coming a mile away. It was such a bad decision.
What else does Joe Girardi do specifically to you that is just mind-numbing? Like, you mentioned rudimentary errors that this guy has made. And we're talking about a major league veteran many times over. We're talking about a managerial veteran many times over. And I just look at him and I'm scratching my head. Like, I peaked in Little League in baseball, and I know what the hell's going on out there, more so than Joe Girardi, it feels like.
Well, one half is Joe Girardi, the other half is the players. But on the Joe Girardi half, I don't like his method when it comes to running this bullpen. I don't like his 2 days in a row type thing, and then, all right, I'm going to give you a day or 2 off and then come back to you. You're not available. I also don't like it that the players kind of appreciate that, because I want the players to be like, no, I'm ready. I want to get these 3 guys out. I'm going to take this to them, and I'm going to get this save. I'm going to get this hold. I'm going to defend this inning for the lineup that has put in the work, hopefully, that this lineup puts in the work, and back up the pitcher. I want people in the bullpen to be fighting to get out there, but actually do something correctly and actually not give up these runs. And I'm not really sure if it's the pitchers are just bad at locating, or even JT Realmuto is just calling for the wrong pitch in the wrong spot. I don't know what it is anymore, because it has to be one or the other, because,
Yeah. I'll say that real quick. I'll just say this: the Nola home run that he gave up at the end of his start the other night in Atlanta, I think it was. Yeah. The ball right to where JT Realmuto was calling for it, and it had some stank on it. It was a 93-mile-per-hour sinker that Realmuto called for up in the zone, and it ended up in I think it ended up in center field, if I'm not mistaken. So for me, that was a rough. Oh no, that was the one that went over Castellanos' head, I think, in right field, which also isn't difficult, unfortunately. But yeah, that was something that made me scratch my head about JT Realmuto as well.
Yeah, and I've been hearing things about how now that we have Logan O'Hoppe, Rafael Marchand, we have these two really good catching prospects that are close, if not MLB ready. Maybe we should trade JT and alleviate some of this payroll and maybe get down closer to the the budgetary threshold, so it doesn't feel like we're spending too much. Get something out of him, because he does hold a lot of value with the moniker of best catcher in baseball. But it's like, is that even worth it? I mean, he's a great player. Like, what's the point? We paid all this money. Like, why would we trade him away? And Rhys Hoskins, on the other hand, I'm fine with trading.
Yeah, well, a 213 batting average, whatever it is down to right now. It's not so good. Plus, I wouldn't have to hear it from like my dad and his cousins about how much they hate Rhys Hoskins. But when it comes to this, interesting. You mentioned the prospects. So Mickey Moniak just came back up, played his first game of the season, the regular season, in this loss from Game 1 against San Francisco Giants. I know Joe Girardi was asked about it after game about whether or not he thought he was pressing. I definitely thought Mickey Moniak was pressing. Calmed down a little bit. I thought in the field he was great. How confident are you that he can really take it seems like you never have regular starters anymore, but the regular starters reigns in center field over Odubel Herrera?
I think he can do it. I think that his fielding ability is so much higher, and his ceiling is so much higher than Odubel Herrera's is, because you're getting Odubel Herrera. You're already getting as much as you're ever going to get from him, between 250, 280, depending on where his streak is going. He's not going to. He's a subpar fielder. Most of the time, you're not going to get anything more than that. But Mickey Moniak, above average fielder. He has a lot of confidence coming into this year. He's really fixed his swing. I know he didn't do well today, but it's his first game back.
Right.
I did think his rehab was a little bit rushed, but I think that he could have sat out the Giants series and then come back this weekend against the Angels. I would have been more fine with that at the soonest for him to come back. Mm-hmm. But
Gotcha.
I think that after this sweep, it was just, again, by the Mets. It had to happen.
Sure.
Something had to happen. And I'm hoping that, I think there was a little bit of life today, but it's just, I don't know if it was bad luck or it's just, I don't even know. It's just another loss at this point.
Right. No, I got you. Let's get back to the manager for a second here. Mm-hmm. Do you think that he makes it to even the All-Star break? Do you think he makes it to the end of the week? Like, how much longer do you think management is looking at him with not picking up the next year on his contract? That club option has not been picked up yet, as we all know by now. So how much longer do you think Joe Girardi will be the Phillies manager?
It's a really good question. It really depends on Dave Dombrowski. Now, Dave Dombrowski and probably John Middleton, too, don't want to fire someone and have to keep paying them to not do their job. And, I don't know who would be the next person up. A lot of people think it might be Dusty Wathan. I don't think Dusty Wathan is capable of being the manager of the Philadelphia Phillies, even a temporary one.
Wow, okay. Now, hold on, just real quick on that note. You say Wathan, I say Wathan.
I don't know which one it is.
Have we heard it both ways?
I'd like to think I've heard it both ways.
Easy enough. So you're not sure he can manage this Phillies team. Okay.
I don't think so. And, I think that the worst part is that when we were deciding to even go for Joe Girardi in the first place, in the original hiring session, post Gabe Kapler, it hurts that Buck Showalter was a finalist. It hurts that Buck Showalter is now the Mets manager and is doing so well with them.
Yeah. And,
I'm wondering whether, maybe we should have went with the more gut guy than the binder guy in this case. And, I think that the gut guy goes more with the traditional Phillies, but at the same time, I don't know if I want the Phillies to be as traditional as they normally have been in
Okay.
years past, just because I don't know if it's going to keep working because it hasn't worked for the better part of the last decade.
Right.
They fired Manuel, they fired Sandberg, and McCannon and everyone else.
Sandberg quit. Sandberg couldn't take it anymore. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I couldn't. I don't know how Joe Girardi's taking it.
Yeah, right. Yeah, maybe that'll be just. I just had to pose the question for one of our other sponsors versus game, and I was careful in case they let him walk away. It could always be a resigning. Like, I'm done. I've had enough. Right. I just said, will he still be the Phillies manager by, I think it was Sunday, June 5th. But so it's interesting. So after Wathan, you wouldn't be sure who would be coming in after Joe Girardi then?
I mean, I have some ideas, but it would involve them actually hiring someone new.
Oh, outside the organization.
Well, or who's available. And someone who I've always, for years, because I've been a big fan of his since he was on the Phillies.
Oh, I know what you're going to say. All right.
You think it's Chase Utley, but it's actually
Raul Ibanez. Yeah. Raul Ibanez. I was going to go with my bald brother, Raul Ibanez.
I love Raul Ibanez. I think he would be such a great manager for this Phillies team. I think, and he's bilingual. He has so many things on his resume that could just really make this team shine. And I would love to see him in a Phillies uniform again. Mm-hmm. It'd be great. Still don't understand why managers wear the uniform, but that's another conversation. But
where's their nicely pressed suits and collars and straw hats? What the hell happened to those? What happened to them, Johns? Like Connie Mack used to wear.
I know Connie Mack used to wear the nice was it the straw hat with the stripe across?
I believe something like that. Yeah. I don't even know if straw hat is the right word for it, because when I say straw hat, I think of a farmer. Whatever. It wasn't a corn cob hat. It was a weird hat. It was a 1920s hat. People have the thought in their head right now of 8 men out, all that stuff. Shoeless Joe Jackson and all that stuff. Little sticker coming out that says press, or in this case, manager, whatever, owner. So yeah. Anyway, not to go too far down 1920s attire, but I'm just not so. I think this Phillies team is a lot better than what we have seen, and that could be the most homer take.
Agree.
Yeah, but these guys got track records of success. The bullpen, not so much. So when it comes to the rest of this team, I think whoever comes in next, I think it is going to take a changing of the guard as a manager for the Phillies. I think it's going to take a changing of the guard to kind of shake this lineup up, shake up this bullpen, and also while they're at it, inject a little life into Citizens Bank Park with, stacking some wins together. Because right now, and I've said it earlier, four losses in a row. They've lost 6 of 7, and they have done what bad teams do, which is find ways to lose games. And that brings me to this question here. I hate it, but people always talk about, the schedule gets easier. For me, my reaction to it, you tell me if I'm right or wrong and if you agree or disagree. But my reaction is that how about you make sure that you're not one of those teams that everybody else is looking forward to playing later in the season too? Because right now they don't look like that team that, the Phillies are coming to town. Oh, there's a loss. Like, no. Right now you're not scaring anybody with this team. No,
you're not. And I agree. I when people say the schedule gets easier, when it comes to Philadelphia sports, period, I never trust that, ever. Because Philadelphia sports teams always manage to either lose against the bad teams, beat the good teams, which is, something the Phillies do quite often, or there's just like nothing is ever guaranteed. There are times when Phillies teams were guaranteed, like the 2007, 2008, 2009 Phillies, when they came to town, you knew it was going to be trouble, during that run, when the early, like late 70s, early 1980s Eagles, or even like the 76ers, with Dr. J was coming, like you knew like you were going to have trouble, like there were different eras of Philly sports where like those teams and those sporting events they were going to kick ass, and that's what it was. But right now we're in this kind of cursed state. I don't know how to describe it. It's so unfortunate for the Philadelphia Phillies, especially right now. But go ahead. I'm going to finish your thought, please. No, yeah, just like right now, we need that injection of something new, and especially we need an actual closer. That is something we need more than anything in this world.
You read my mind. I don't know if you can see my computer screen or not, but I was just going to read to you. Corey Knebel after the game, getting this by way of Michael Barkan's Twitter. Wouldn't say it's been a tough month for me. 2 homers. I believe he's had 3 blown saves in the last week or 2. So you know what? I'll give him it hasn't been a bad month, maybe, but have some humility. You know what?
Yeah.
Hey, look, I'll go I've had a couple of bad weeks, maybe not a full month, but hey, bottom line is I got to be better. Like, I'll take that. That's an acceptable answer.
Yeah.
What he actually said, no, it's not an acceptable answer.
I know it's not the same as, Alec Boehm sort of owning up to his infamous line, but I can't help after this, 4th loss in a row, but feel the same as Alec Boehm right now. I can't.
Alec Boehm in the field. Alec Boehm in the field. Not in the clubhouse.
Not in the clubhouse, but Alec Boehm in the field after that 3-error game. I can't help but feel that way right now. That is, I feel like that's everyone's feeling right now.
Yeah. Last question for you, Matt Kerwin, PHL Sports Nation, phlsportsnation.com. Make sure you guys check him out there. What is your confidence level right now that the Phillies will give us a meaningful September? I'm not even talking about the playoffs anymore, but a meaningful September where at least they won't collapse in September. Are we experiencing the collapse now? And then maybe they'll just give us something worth bragging about in September?
I think we're still hitting the rough right now. I don't think it's over by any means.
Okay.
I think that decisions and things will be made by the end of this month, most likely, when it comes to the state of the Phillies, whether they're going to be in second place pushing for first, or, they're going to be in third and just stay there or go lower. But I think that September is going to, if they're out of it by September, I think we're just going to see a lot of really great September call-ups. And, the 2023 season is right around the corner.
Oh, man, pitchers, catchers report in 365 days. No. And maybe we'll see some of those catching prospects you mentioned as well. Matt Kerwin, if we don't see him beforehand, if they don't trade JT at the deadline. Matt Kerwin, great catching up with you as always. You guys make sure you read his stuff at phlsportsnation.com, covering all things Phils. Matt, appreciate you, brother. Thanks so much.
No problem, Mark.
Matt Kerwin joining us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. You getting that? Jim, can you hear that? You know what that is? This is the 1912 hit, Nearer My God to Thee. I knew the song was famous. I knew the song was known. But this is the song that was played on the Titanic. Yeah. Too soon? Too soon for the Titanic jokes? Probably. I apologize. Miss Guzzi. My thanks to Matt Kerwin for joining us on the show. Read his stuff at PHL Sports Nation, phlsportsnation.com. He, of course, joined us on the Rothman Orthopaedics guest line. When you have an orthopedic issue, you need a physician who eats, sleeps, and breathes orthopedics. You need an exceptionally specialized Rothman orthopedic physician, one that specializes in one area of the body, so you can have the confidence to get past the pain to be what you were. You can visit them in one of their 30-plus locations in Pennsylvania and New Jersey, including 4 orthopedic-only urgent cares. Learn more at RothmanOrtho.com. That's RothmanOrtho.com. How about the people at Windview Games, ladies and gentlemen? These people have been great to us. We appreciate hooking up with them and having a great time on all these different things that we've been doing. But let me tell you right now about the great people at Freestone Farms CBD. Freestone Farms CBD. You liking a CBD? Huh? You'll enjoy Freestone Farms CBD. It'll help calm you down. It'll help relax you. Help bring you down after a workout, just to relax a little bit. If you enjoy Freestone Farms CBD, you'll love this. How about 20% off Freestone Farms CBD when you use promo code Farzy upon checkout? You can look at all their strains, like their new tropical tasting Bayox that clocks in at a chart-topping 24.1%, and a super CBD, which is half Hindu Kush, and a 21% clocking in and out. These genetics, these guys know what they're doing. They absolutely know what they're doing, and they grow all their premium hemp flower in the Garden State itself with all organic inputs and IPM. There's absolutely nothing synthetic from farm to jar. And after harvest, they carefully preserve all their plant compounds with a perfect 3-month cure. Just one look or smell is enough to know CBD is done right, and that this product is great for anyone looking to take a more natural approach to everything that they put in their body. Oh, and one more time, 20% off. Use promo code Farzy for 20% off at checkout. That's promo code Farzy at FreestoneFarmsCBD.com. That's FreestoneFarmsCBD.com, the best CBD brand because they farm it themselves with all organic inputs, and they offer you some of the best education that you could get on CBD, on what they grow and how they grow it to make the best quality products on the market. That's FreestoneFarmsCBD.com, promo code Farzy upon checkout. Let me tell you, ladies and gentlemen, I mentioned them earlier in the show. I'm going to mention them one more time. Versus Game. The first question that we asked in our partnership between the Farzy Show and Versus Game, you can download the app, look for this logo in the Google Play Store, in the App Store right now. You can download it to your phone and let the games begin. The first question we asked: who would be higher in the standings as of this morning? The Marlins or the Phillies? Both lost yesterday. The Phillies were a half game up on the Marlins. Phillies higher in the standings. For the people that picked the Phillies, congratulations, you won our first bet, and hopefully you won some cash along with it. Now, today's question. You have a couple of days to vote on this when you download the amazing Versus Game app. When you download the Versus Game app, look for the @Farzy Show and make sure you answer this question. Will Joe Girardi still be the Phillies manager after Sunday, June 5th at 11:59 p.m.? Will Joe Girardi still be the Phillies manager after June 5th? That's Sunday, June 5th at 11:59 p.m. Vote yes or vote no, and we'll see what happens. Let that play out. But make sure you download the Versus Game app right now to your phone and let the games begin. Follow the Farzy Show. We just started this a week ago. We already have about 450 followers on the Farzy Show. This is pretty awesome. So, hey, join the bunch, folks. Join the bunch. Oh, and it comes with a complete video message from me. So if you watch the show and then it's over and you miss the hell out of me, just go right there to the Versus Game app and have yourself a good time. And just right there I am. There I am. And I promise you. Ooh, I was actually about to promise there would be no Saturday Night Live references, but there is one. Well, indirectly, it's really about Bill Murray, and it's what I always say from Ghostbusters when things are going crazy in Philadelphia sports. Dogs and cats living together, mass hysteria. That's what's going on. Let me tell you about PHL Sports Nation, where Matt Kerwin joined us from. PHL Sports Nation, enhancing your Philadelphia sports fan experience across all social media and blogs. That's phlsportsnation.com. Let's jump into the chat check. April leads us off. What's up, April? Good morning. Kevin, good morning to you. Dan, if you run out of stories, Marc, you could just start to read us bedtime stories. Anything is better than Phillies talk. Hey, if you have young kids, do you guys do the stories that read themselves, like the Disney stories or whatever, and they have words, but then like in the middle of the word they'll have like a picture, and then they'll have buttons on the side of the book that you push, so that it's like if like Minnie Mouse is pictured in the book, you push the Minnie Mouse thing, and Minnie Mouse reads the story. She reads the page. I think that's cheating. My daughter loves those books, which just lets you know that she thinks my wife and I are boring. You guys don't read so well. You're not as entertaining as actual Minnie Mouse. Push the button. She also is really into the trolls, Poppy's Pals, whatever. Yeah. So maybe next time. Okay, here's what we'll do. If the Phillies lose today, there's 6:45 start time against the Giants. If the Phillies lose today, I promise you, I will open the show tomorrow with you tell me, Minnie Mouse. No, wait, Minnie Mouse is missing a page. I'll open with Poppy's Pals. That's what I'll open with, okay? And that will be more interesting than talking about the Phillies. And then I'm going to get sued by Disney. What's something that won't sue me? Whatever, I'll talk to the lawyers. Anyway, so yeah, I'll do that tomorrow, Dan. If the Phillies lose today, I'll open up with a storybook. If it's not Disney, then I'll just read you one of the other books. Alpha, what's up, Alpha? Good morning. Oh, God bless you, my friend. God bless you as well. By the way, I had the kids baptized last weekend, in case I didn't mention that. This past weekend, Saturday, both kids. The 2-for-1 Catholic COVID special that the church was running. Emmanuel hadn't been baptized yet. Thank you, COVID. And Leo was baptized as well. He's 4 months. So we got them both baptized. It was great. Very, very good service by a friend of the family who's a priest. And my uncle, I call him Uncle George. He's great. He is also the guy that flew to Italy to marry my wife and I. So it's pretty special to have him do the baptism as well. Kevin, hello again. Sean Gillespie, what's up, Sean? Mullet, what's up, Mullet? Happy Phillies Groundhog Day. That about sums it up. Dan Schwartz, can't believe this is all we have right now. I saw a tweet yesterday that really got me thinking. Jimmy Butler and Joel Embiid are costing each other a championship by not playing together. And it just got me thinking, again, when we're talking to our grandkids about the process, and we talk about, oh, you guys like watching this team try to win? Well, for 4 years, we watched this team try not to win and play some of the worst basketball in history. And I thought about it. It was like, and the guy that really was the rug out from under all of us was Jimmy Butler. I absolutely believe if Jimmy Butler stayed in Philadelphia, the Sixers would have won a championship. No doubt in my mind. No doubt in my mind. Could you imagine Jimmy Butler and this version of Joel Embiid playing together? Because Joel Embiid is a lot better than what we saw in the quadruple doink season. It's unbelievable. DKNJ or Dak NJ, what's up, buddy? Nice to see you again. I'd rather have Dick Girardi managing the Phillies. So would I. I love Dick Girardi. Dick Girardi is the king of this line. When he was on WIP, and every once in a while you get some kind of crazy thing, like when the internet was just starting up, and somebody would be like, I just heard Allen Iverson's getting traded. And it would be in the middle of Allen Iverson's run, and DJ would just be like, I'm not supposed to say anything, but I have a press conference at noon tomorrow. I got to be there because Allen Iverson's getting traded. One of those things. And just the level of sarcasm that man could hit was amazing. And also, and I don't say this to throw anybody else under the bus, but DJ was one of the few people that would regularly come into the producer's studio at the time that you're making like $8 an hour for only a 4-hour shift. And then your life is supposed to be based on, this money. He would come in and be like, hey, I'm just starving, man. Let's order a pizza. Here's $20. Get a pizza and we'll split it. The pizza, not the money. We'll both have the pizza, but I'm paying for it. Like that would be Dick Girardi. He's the best. How to ingratiate yourself to a WIP. How to a radio producer from Jump. Buy them food regularly. Fuji, good morning. Nice to see you, buddy. Yeah, it's Murphy's Law. Whatever could go wrong does go wrong, and that's called the Phillies. James, what's up, James Tyler? What's going on? Darian, what's up, pal? Nice to see you again. April, good grief. I hope he's not around another week. It's going to be a long summer. I think it would make it more interesting if the Phillies made a move. It would feel like they're making hitting the reset button. The team I always go to is Jack McKeon and the Marlins in 2003. That's forever ago. But that team certainly got a jump start once they changed managers. I'm Bozo the Clown as manager right now, unless that's Joe Girardi, or Dan Schwartz would take Bozo the Clown. Mike Fuji, Lame Duck Joe, and Duck Rivers. We got a couple of ducks. Mullet got the reference. Stuart Smalley, thank you. Gosh darn it, people like me. Joe is my former high school guidance counselor. Wow, Sean, that is... My guidance counselor at Archbishop Woods was Mr. Tobias, and he had a very Joe Girardi-like delivery. Like, it's going to be okay. And you can take that. You love that from a guidance counselor. Baseball manager, not so much. Mullet, you're a closer, Farzy, working through pain. April, I saw that you said, Sean Gillespie, the Titanic band was legendary, worth dying listening to. That's true. Jim Grassmeter, what's up, buddy? Already looking forward to the trade deadline, and it's 2 months away. Leg cramps and helping in the delivery room. You're an incredibly tough man, Farzy. Thank you, Sean. April, Sean, he's lucky he made it out of there without his wife punching him. So here's the story, April. And April says, as someone who was in labor for 14 hours, I don't give a bleep what pain my husband was having. So again, here's the story. I'll give you the brief story of this. I was sleeping on the sofa. My wife was in and out of consciousness, basically. This is during during my wife's first delivery with Emanuela, Little Toots. The doctor comes in and goes, hey, it's go time. You can jump up and grab this leg. I was asleep on the sofa. I wake up, I grab the leg. 2.5 hours of pushing, okay? And I just remember having, for whatever reason, I don't know if it was the sofa, whatever, but I had this most intense leg cramp, and it was hurting like hell. And when they said, grab this leg, I was like, yeah, I'll grab the leg and I thought that somebody that like studied medicine, somebody that like went to medical school, somebody that studied at all anything in school was going to come in and take the leg because they would know what they're doing, and I'd just be there for moral support for my wife. Wasn't the case. I held the leg for 2.5 hours, and my leg was just killing me. But I'm thinking, because I'm not a jerk, I'm not saying anything to my wife who's pushing out my kid. I'm not saying anything. That would be ridiculous. So months go by, and my wife's talking about the delivery process and everything, and she's saying how she didn't experience any pain during pushing. Pushing was her favorite part. And my wife and I have a very nice relationship, very wonderful relationship. So I say, well, I'm glad you weren't in any pain. And she goes, what? And I go, I had the worst leg cramp. Oh, it was so terrible. But you weren't in any pain, so I didn't, I just wanted you to concentrate on pushing. I didn't want to tell you about the horrific leg cramp I had. And she goes, don't you ever say that again. I go, oh, no, you're the one that betrayed all women by saying you didn't have any pain. But I had this leg cramp. And now it's been this running joke to the point when we had our second kid. My wife said, well, God forbid he has a leg cramp again. She set me up for the story, to which then the nurse had to hear it. I tell the nurse the story for Leo's birth, 4 months ago. The nurse is laughing her ass off, which only makes a schmuck like me encouraged. She goes and gets another nurse, brings her into the room and says, you have to hear this. The second nurse starts laughing her ass off. I'm the funniest guy in the world all of a sudden. The nurses leave. A couple hours later, another nurse comes in and says, no, you have to hear this story. With another nurse, I tell the story again. Oh, my God, it was showtime at the Apollo. I had a great time. It was a great time. It was nice to do another show while we were in the delivery room. My wife was just rolling her eyes. It was like the time our contractor saw something I built in the house and goes, that's really nice. It's a really nice design and woodwork you had there, Marc. And my wife was like, oh, my God, don't encourage him. One of those deals. And now it's basically I'm a master carpenter. But, yeah, so that's the leg cramp story from my wife's delivery. And good God, the fact that the nurse kept on teeing me up to tell the story over and over again only fed into my ego even more. God bless. But April, 14 hours of delivery is that's a long time. Leo was about that. Emmanuel was like 26. But I don't know how you ladies do it. It is amazing, fellas. If you haven't been through yet, Father's Day, not too far down the line. I will say this: it is amazing. There's things that you acknowledge before you go through them, and you think to yourself, "Wow, that's amazing." And then you go through it, and you always think, "Wow, my mom's amazing. She had me," and right, whatever. And then you go through it, and you see it, and it's like, I had no idea. I couldn't comprehend anything. I knew it was intense. I knew it was crazy. I knew the mom's incredible. But then when you actually watch it, you're just like, women are a marvel. And I'm not saying this to be a simp, I think is the word. But I'm like, my mind is still blown from it. And I'm not even talking about from Leo 4 months ago. I'm talking about from Emanuela Little Toots from almost 3 years ago. It's, ladies, you're amazing. And then you meet women that are like, oh, yeah, I didn't have any drugs. And I'm like, what? God bless you. April, yeah, good times, 14 hours. Yeah, that's insane. April, feel your poor wife still had 52 hours of labor. It was insane. Definitely made me not want to have another. 52 hours. Oh, my God. God bless you. Laugh out loud. Your wife is a champ. P.S. They were laughing at you, not with you. April, if I'm doing a second show, I'm pretty sure they're laughing with me. And my wife the entire time. Yeah. Anyway, so there you go. That was the chat check. Let's get to our morning rush brought to you by Sky Motorcars, skymotorcars.com. Phillies back at it, 6:45 start time today against San Francisco Giants. On the bump for the Phils, Ranger Suarez against Jakob Hunis. That's how I'll say that. 2-1 with a 2.76 ERA. That's who's going up for the Phillies, going against the Phillies today. So, hey, that'll be enjoyable. Mickey Moniak, I'm going to give a shout out to. I know I mentioned with Matt Kerwin a second ago. 3 strikeouts yesterday. Great diving catch in center field. Love to see it. Did you happen to notice that right away they panned to Odubel Herrera, who had that confused look on his face, like, how do you make plays like what? I'm really pulling for Mickey Moniak. I hope he's back in the lineup today again. And I really hope that he starts hitting like he did in spring training or anything close to that, because the Phillies need him. And B, it would alleviate a lot of the pain from watching Odubel Herrera. Because with Odubel Herrera, even when he makes a big play or even when he hits a home run, like, you're still waiting for the mistake. And that shouldn't be how you watch a ball player, but it sure is with Odubel Herrera, because that's what he does. He will catch fire at some point. And, oh, wow, he's playing great. But that's going to last a month, and then it'll be back to the same old stupid antics. So that's what we have to look forward to. Thanks for watching, everybody. Appreciate you, as per usual. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Make sure you guys subscribe on the Farzy Show page on YouTube. By the way, one last thing. Whenever the Phillies get crushed by the Mets, we always get a hell of a lot of interaction on the show. Especially on YouTube, because I believe Mets fans just like to drink our tears. So to all the Mets fans that watched, I guess I'm glad that I could bring you more joy than your first place team, which is bonkers. But hey, I'm here to serve, people. I'm here to serve. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. You guys are great as per usual. Jim Hyder produced the program. Devin Caney will join the show tomorrow. And we'll talk some Eagles, talk some Phils with Devin Caney, and chugging beers. That's what we're going to talk about tomorrow with Devin Caney. So make sure you guys don't miss the show tomorrow. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Jim Hyder produced, did a wonderful job. This is a Buzz Sports Entertainment production. My name is Marc Farzetta. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. Take it easy.